Hello everyone, and finally we are on the, if you don't count the intro, I think we are on the 8th video in our installment of our just before the expansion hit series, and this is one of the most important ones out there, because maybe up until this point you could have figured some of the stuff by yourself. Right? Lucky hit was the, and fortify, those are complicated ones, but the rest of the stuff you could say we already knew, right? There is nothing new under the bridge there, but this time around there will be something new under the bridge, I can assure you. So what this is additive damage and multiplicative damage. So the words explain themselves. What does it mean? Additive damage means you keep adding more damage, and multiplicative damage means you increase your damage by a certain amount of percentage. And of course that's what you want, right? Because multiplicative damage will have to be added separately, and additive is going to be all added up, then it turns into a huge bonus, right? So what do I mean? So guys, if you take a look at my Ramaladni's magnum opus here, if you read the aspect here, the one with the denoted with the nice star, skills using this weapon deal 0.50% increased damage, and there is an interesting symbol right after the 0.50. If you pay attention, there is a X in brackets, right? And I can't mouse over it because I might tell, but you obviously see it. After 0.50 there is an X there. That means this bonus is multiplicative, right? So it means the bonus that is provided by this item is going to multiply your damage at the end. So take a look at my fury, guys. I do have 270 fury, 270, which means my damage is going to get increased by 135%, and this is multiplicative. So guys, I do all of the bonuses and end up at like 10,000 damage, and my damage is going to be 23,500. Right? That's insane. And so what is additive? So for example, this is not damage, but if you read the aspect, while unstoppable and 4 seconds after you gain 24%, and there is a plus in there, that means that's additive, right? So whatever movement speed you have, you add 24% to it, right? That's what it means. So for example, another instance of multiplicative damage, you do 20% multiplicative, right? Increased damage while unstoppable and 4 or 5 seconds after. So generally, guys, right? If it's conditional, it is generally multiplicative, but not always. In this game, it's a little bit different, and so you don't have to memorize it. But I'll just go over it. What is additive? Damage percentage, right? So when I was playing the game, guys, I was very confused by this. I had a weapon. It said 50% damage, and I'm like, wow, so good. And no one is using those. For example, that grandfather has that, right? Plus 465 damage, and I'm like, why is no one using these, right? I mean, that's magnificent. So the thing is, it is additive. So guys, what happens here? Let me explain this. Damage like this. Damage after killing an elite, right? Core skill damage, weapon mastery skill damage. All kinds of elemental damage, poison damage, physical damage, cold damage, fire damage, right? Bleeding enemy damage, damage versus elites, right? Damage while healthy, damage while fortified, damage while injured, damage while berserking, crit damage, damage against vulnerable targets, and overpower damage, right? All of these are additive, right? So what I mean by that is, guys, let's construct a small example. I have 100% crit damage, 200% berserking damage, and 300% damage, elite damage, right? And I'm facing an elite enemy, and you would think, the 100% will double your damage, the 200% will triple your damage, and 300% will quadruple your damage, and you will be hitting for instead of 100 damage, you will be hitting for 2400 damage, right? That's what you would think. Nope, they are additive. So what will happen is I have 100% bonus, I have 200% bonus, and I have 300% bonus. They all get it up to say 600% bonus, and I am going to deal 700 damage. So if I was supposed to deal 100 damage, they all get added up to a 700 damage. And that's why, guys, these stuff is, I mean, if you don't have anything else, of course you can go for those for more damage, but they are not very much there, because take a look at this, guys. I mean, my crit damage is 1739, right? So the thing is, everything else will dwarf in comparison with this, right? Damage with physical, 70%. Well, that's nothing next to this, 45%, nothing, right? Damage versus close, that is a little bit noticeable. Damage versus, so the, guys, this all gets added up, right? 1700 something, right? Vulnerable damage, another 75, all damage, damage with physical, this all gets added up, right? I end up at a number like 2500, and my damage gets increased by 26 times, right? And as you can imagine, that is not very efficient. But, you know, of course, if there is nothing, right, damage while fortified, that, but you can see how weak this damage while fortified is, right? It just, you know, performs the function of 42 crit damage, because these are all additive and they are all gonna get added up, right? I mean, 1700 plus 75 plus 800 plus 70 plus 45 plus 229 plus 24. These are all additive, right? I did count them out for you guys. These all get added up. You find 3000%, right? Now I'm just making up a number, and your damage will get increased by 30-fold, and instead of doing 1000 damage, you will be dealing 31,000 damage, right? And here comes the ball, right? The multiplicative ones, like this one, like this one, like this one, they do get added in the end, at the end, right? So for example, like this one, again, as you can see, it's multiplicative, the game gives you the information. So what happens is, let's say, guys, I was going to hit for 1000, right? And I have 2900% damage up here, and my damage goes up to, I said 1000, right? So it's gonna go up to 30,000, factoring in all additive damage that I have. Now I have 30,000, right? Now listen to this. This one is gonna give me increased, you know, of course it's going to vary because it's gonna change based on the amount of fury I have. But let's say I have 200 fury, and that's gonna be 100%, right? So the damage that I have at 30,000 goes up to 60,000, right? It's not additive, right? The final number gets multiplied, right? This one, 20%, that's 60,000, now goes up to 72,000, right? It gives me 12,000 damage. I mean, it gives me much, much more than anything and everything in here, right? And then we have this one, Ring of the Starless Skies. If it's stacked up to the max, it's 50%, so that 72,000 goes up to 108,000, right? And you know, that's how damage stacks. I mean, you get the additive ones, of course, you know, you can't dodge the additive ones because, you know, you can't really get all multiplicative ones, right? I mean, there are some, as you can see from the weapon, I get, you know, damage to close enemies, you know, Dust Devil twice, Dust Devil size, you know, that kind of stuff, right? Yeah, damage while berserking. Because, guys, I do not have access to multiplicative damage on a glove, right? I can get vulnerable damage, I can get crit damage, I can get damage while berserking, but, you know, that's it. So what you want from these is you get the one with the highest range, because they are all the same, right? So crit damage in here is literally the same with damage while berserking. And because damage while berserking rolls higher, we go for that. So in some builds there are special stuff that, you know, you get. So for example, in the most powerful build in the game, Lightning Spear, guys, your damage scales of crit damage, so crit damage is very valuable there, right? It's not on the same weight class, but you know, on a normal character they are all the same, so you just want to go for higher. I hope this clarifies the stuff a little bit, right? So the multiplicative damage instances are denoted with an X, right? And I just also enumerated all all sorts of additive damage, so whatever remains is multiplicative, right? And the thing is, it's important that you know the additive damage, so you don't really avoid it, but you don't really overvalue it, right? I mean, you're like 25% physical damage, oh my god, that's gonna be 20. Nope, it's not gonna be 25% damage altogether, it's just gonna be the same thing with 25% crit rate damage, kind of not worth a lot, right? That's important. So for example, if you did get like 1000 life, right, that could be better, right? That is important. And that concludes our character category, right? And after that we have some more stuff to go through. We have crafting, we have itemization, and we have the general concepts of the game. And yeah, I will see you in the other videos, guys. Bye bye.